A crucial part of real estate investing is knowing how to buy off-market properties. But what does off-market even mean? And why is it how majority of real estate investing is done? Well, when you're buying a property, you can either buy on-market or off-market. On-market means it's listed with a realtor on the multiple listing service, or MLS, which only agents have access to. But it will also be publicized on sites like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, and any of the other sites that the general public has access to. Off-market just means that it's not listed on any of these sites, and the general public and other agents don't know that it is being sold or potentially sold. So apart from the obvious, what are the differences between these two types of transactions? Well, an on-market transaction is usually done when the seller is looking to receive top dollar or market value for the property. It involves an agent who's going to take between 3 to 6% commission on the sale of the house, renovations so that the property is able to command that market value price, showings to allow all the potential buyers to do walkthroughs, and financing contingencies, since these properties are usually being bought with a mortgage, seeing as the buyers are more oftentimes than not residential homeowners or people looking to buy the property to live in it. Now, that's not to say that you can't find deals on the market. You certainly can. It's just a little more difficult. Now, off-market is more oftentimes than not direct to seller, where the only two people involved in the transaction are you and the person you're buying the house from. You're buying the house as is, so there's usually not going to be any renovations done, and there's probably going to be a little bit of work that you have to do to make that property in investment shape again. There's also usually only a single inspection, which is done after the contract is signed, and more oftentimes than not, it's going to be an all-cash offer. About 99% of off-market transactions are done as investments. So, what types of houses sell off-market? And what types of properties are you looking for? Well, of course the property matters, whether you're looking to do a flip or get cash flow from the deal. But it's more about the seller than it is about the property type. And your ideal seller is one with distress, because distress means problems. And as real estate investors, we get paid to solve people's problems. Some basic signals of distress are things like probate, divorce, foreclosure, structural damage, or some signs of vacancy. This distress creates motivation. And by finding this motivation and solving the seller's problems, we're able to buy these properties at a discount, which gives us the best deals possible. So, why are these deals better than on-market properties? Well, first and foremost, they're cheaper. Because the seller has a motivation to sell, they're inclined to work with you as the buyer to give you the best price and terms that you can possibly get so that that property can be closed. You're also buying as is, meaning that there are issues with the property that you can use as negotiation tactics to bring down the price. Things like needing to put a new roof on, needing to replace the flooring, doing new painting, replacing the kitchen, doing bathroom renovations. All of these things that you would have to do to the property so that it would be worth market value are used to bring down the purchase price to account for the state that you are buying the property in. Now, on top of the motivation factor, there's also less competition when you're going off market, since the general public doesn't know that this property is for sale. Now, that's not to say that there won't be other buyers, but the other buyers are more likely than not going to be other investors. So even if there is a bidding war, the bidding war will be at a lower price, since the other investors are trying to buy the property at a discount as well. So how do you find these off-market properties? Well, it's not as easy, and it takes a little bit more work than just going on Zillow or Redfin and calling a listing agent. But there are still hundreds of ways to find these properties. And I'll go through and make a video of all the ways that I've used, as well as ways that partners of mine have used, and just other people in the real estate investing space. But the easiest way, and the ways that I'm sure we've all heard of, are by driving for dollars or by using the county records. Now, driving for dollars doesn't necessarily mean driving. You could be biking, walking, scootering, whatever mode of transportation you want to use. But essentially, you're going to go into a neighborhood or area that you want to invest in and walk around, drive around, bike around, whatever you're doing, to find properties that show signs of distress. Now, these could be things like overgrown grass showing that the property hasn't been taken care of. Maybe there's some structural damage. Maybe you look in the window and you see that there's no furniture in there, showing that the property is vacant. These all show signs of distress. And when you see that, you're going to want to write down the address and try and find that owner's information later to contact them. Now, another way, and probably the best way, is by using the county records. Things like tax liens, code violations, and pre-foreclosures are all public data. You can either go on your clerk of court's website, or sometimes you have to go in person to the county clerk of courts. But once there, you can either access their database or ask them for a list of all of the properties that have engaged in pre-foreclosure in the past month or past 2 months, or all the properties that have current code violations, or properties where the people haven't paid their taxes. These are all signs of distress, right? So you're going to get the property, the address, and you're going to get the name from the county records. Then you're going to go to a website called truepeoplesearch.com, where you can either use the address or the name to search these people and find their phone numbers, email addresses, etc., so that you can contact them and ask about buying the property. Now, I'll make another video as well about what exactly you say to these homeowners, but the conversation is going to go something like, "Hey, Mr. Seller, my name is Spencer. I live in neighborhood XYZ. I was driving around the other day and I saw property 123, whatever it is. I was wondering if you had any plans for it in the near future, or if you would consider taking offers." Now, real estate is a numbers game. It's a numbers game and a relationships game, but it really comes down to the numbers. If you call 1,000 people, maybe 100 people will pick up. Out of those 100 people, maybe 10 will be interested. The other 90 will either not be or will cuss you out. Out of those 10 people that are interested, you might be able to get one contract. Now, that one contract can make it all worth it. But just because you called 1,000 people one time doesn't mean that there's only one contract in that pool of leads. It's all about the follow-up. I've had deals before where I've reached out 5 times before the seller even entertains talking about who I am or what I'm looking to do. But the more you follow up, the more consistent you are with your outreach, and the better you get on talking on the phones, the higher your conversion rate of these leads is going to be. Now, once you have the property under contract, there are countless ways to manage it, whether it be a long-term rental, short-term rental, group home, or a wrap strategy, as well as many ways to dispose of it, whether it's wholesaling, doing a flip, JVing. And I'll make a video going through all of these ways as well. But right now, it's just important to understand that off-market real estate simply means that the property isn't listed on the MLS or any of these general public sites, and that you're looking for a seller more than you're looking for a property. And that seller is ideally going to have distress. Once you find the distress, you can use the strategies that you've learned to solve their problems, which will allow you to get the best deals possible. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Until then, deuces.